Hey there and welcome fellow seekers to the beautiful beaches of the Netherlands. I'm Aaron, your friendly internet renegade, and this is episode number 7 of I'm Just Gonna Say It. Today I want to talk a bit about political correctness and, well, what I think it is doing to our little planet. Let's go for number 7. Now, if you look closely in the background there, here, you can see Ray, my boyfriend and partner in crime. We'll say hey to him later. Now, this episode I want to talk a little bit about PC, political correctness, political corruptness. PC, phony correctness. PC. The most horrible thing ever invented, basically. It started out as a good thing, no doubt, but by now, in my opinion, it has paralyzed us to the point where nobody has the balls anymore to say anything meaningful, afraid to piss off some person in a far-off desert somewhere. Now, for some reason, this has caused people to be afraid to say what's true. I mean, you'll hear nobody say that Chinese are more intelligent than white guys, or that white people can't dance, which most can't. This while every person knows these things to be true, right? Now I'm guessing it's obvious I'm not using the obvious examples here, but my point is, stereotypes have a base of truth, always. Now please don't be an idiot and start like, racist, because I'm the last person who is a racist. So, lest we forget, racism is treating somebody unequally or whatever based on their race. It is not claiming that all races are exactly the same, because that's totally ridiculoso. Now another perfect example of this would be saying that there's no difference between men and women, for instance. And anybody who has any nerve cells up here knows that that's completely ridiculous. Nobody's saying one's better than the other or whatever, but they just have different skills. Evolution has made it that way. I mean, I've studied psychology and followed evolutionary psychology, and that's just the way things work. That's why men have, in general, better spatial insight, and women are better at discriminating colors, for instance, or have more emotional intelligence in general. All just based on facts, what I'm saying here. The whole point I'm trying to make is that we've become so damn afraid of even mentioning these differences that we can't have any serious discussion about anything anymore, almost. But Aaron, I hope you're not implying that one race is superior to another. No, I'm just implying that Chinese are superior at math. It doesn't imply that they're superior in value, and people have got to start understanding the difference between those two. It's not that hard, I think. What do you think, Kato? That's what I thought. I mean, just as men and women evolved differently because of evolution over thousands of years, so did races. Some lived here, others lived there, and the different environments caused different attributes to be more important to evolution than others, or to survival, I should say. So, and that has nothing to do with the value of a human being or a human life, and we really have to stop confusing the two, because the fact that we don't talk about all those differences is a big cause of all the problems, I think. And of course, this whole race or gender thing is only one example of the whole PC thing, because there are a plethora of examples where people just prefer to be correct instead of truthful.
How about funding a chair in the non-narrative cinema of self-identified pansexuals? What?
We also need to hire more deans to decide which Halloween costumes are appropriate.
8 deans should do it.
Now Oscar and I are going to leave you with a few words by Stephen Fry, a guy I admire a lot. Until the next video, love you. Like, share, and subscribe, of course. And have a good one.
Naturally, I want racism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, bullying, bigotry, intolerance of all humankind to end. That's surely a given amongst all of us. The question is how such a golden aim is to be achieved. My ultimate objection to political correctness is not that it combines so much of what I have spent a lifetime loathing and opposing, preachiness, with great respect, piety, self-righteousness, heresy hunting, denunciation, shaming, assertion without evidence, accusation, inquisition, censoring. That's not why I'm incurring the wrath of my fellow liberals by standing on this side of the House. My real objection is that I don't think political correctness works. I want to get to the Golden Hill, but I don't think that's the way to get there. I believe one of the greatest human failings is to prefer to be right than to be effective. And political correctness is always obsessed with how right it is without thinking of how effective it might be. I wouldn't class myself as a classical libertarian, but I do relish transgression, and I deeply and instinctively distrust conformity and orthodoxy. Progress is not achieved by preachers and guardians of morality, but, to paraphrase Yevgeny Zemyatin, by madmen, hermits, heretics, dreamers, rebels, and skeptics. I may be wrong. I hope to learn this evening. I really do think I may be wrong, but I'm prepared to entertain the possibility that political correctness will bring us more tolerance and a better world. But I'm not sure, and I would like this quotation from my hero Bertrand Russell to hover over the evening. One of the painful things about our time is that those who feel certainty are stupid, and those with any imagination and understanding are filled with doubt and indecision. Let doubt prevail. I don't believe that the advances in my culture that have allowed me to marry, as I have now been for 3 years, to someone of my gender, I don't believe they are a result of political correctness. And maybe political correctness is actually just some sort of live trout, that the harder we squeeze it, the further it goes away. And you will be saying, I'm not talking about political correctness, you're talking about social justice, with which I agree, with whether you want to call it identity politics or the history of your people, the history of my people. My people were slaves as well. Both the British were slaves of Romans and the Jews were slaves of the Egyptians. All human beings have been slaves at some point, and we all, in that sense, share that knowledge of how important it is to speak up. But Russell Means, who was a friend of mine towards the end, who founded the American Indian movement, he said, oh, for God's sake, call me an Indian, or a Lakota Sioux, or Russell. I don't care what you call me. It's how we're treated that matters. And so I'm really addressing a more popular idea. Also, actually, in Barrow, Alaska, an Inupiat said, call me an Eskimo. It's obviously easier for you because you keep mispronouncing Inupiat. You know, words do matter. I'll just end with a quick story. Gay rights came about in England because we slowly and persistently knocked on the door of people in power. We didn't shout, we didn't scream. People like Ian McKellen eventually got to see the Prime Minister. And when the Queen signed in the royal assent, as she has to, for the bill allowing equality of marriage, she said, Lord, you know, I couldn't imagine this in 1953. Really is extraordinary, isn't it? Just wonderful. And handed it over. Now, it's a nice story, and I hope it's true, but it's nothing to do with political correctness. It's to do with human decency. It's that simple.